it's been kind of a whirlwind rocket ship ride of, okay, I was healthy, fine, and 3 weeks later in the hospital receiving chemotherapy.
Yeah.
It's like a really quick shift you got to go through mentally of,
Dude.
hey, am I even going to, going through the diagnosis of what is this? Am I even going to make it through this alive?
Welcome back to Brian Bandis Builds a Business, where we talk business building, real estate development, and how to do all of that while having a healthy mind, body, and spirit. This is the second installment of Talks on Hard Times. If you saw the first one, you know that these conversations are meant to speak to those who are walking through a challenging time, as I have been for the last year or so. I'm going to talk to some really awesome friends of mine who have walked through difficult times or are walking through difficult times and get some perspective and some wisdom from them on how you walk through that and move through that type of experience with dignity and perseverance and resilience. Now, I do have to tell you, one of our cameras messed up on this one, so you're gonna notice one of the camera angles is pretty rough. It's a little grainy. Don't let that take away from the wisdom that my buddy Matt is sharing in this conversation. His story is incredible. He is currently walking through this situation, so it's extremely relevant, and he has a lot of really beautiful wisdom to share. So that being said, if you are getting something out of this, if you're encouraged, you're challenged, you're inspired by these videos and these conversations, like the video, or even better, subscribe to the channel so that we can talk regularly about business building and real estate development and the mindset and perspective that goes into that. So without any more to say, let's jump into this awesome conversation with my good friend, Matt Kuyper. I am here with a very close friend, Matt Kuyper. Matt, you own a pretty awesome business that you work with your wife, your father, husband. You've become a really close friend of mine, somebody I really respect. So I'm going to let you tell your story. What is the challenging experience that you're willing to share with us that we're going to talk about?
Yeah. Well, coincidentally, the timing of this is kind of unique.
Yeah.
Because it's a very new challenge. Going through 5 weeks ago, was just out of the blue diagnosed with hairy cell leukemia.
Yeah.
Which obviously but it's been kind of a whirlwind rocket ship ride of, okay, I was healthy, fine, and 3 weeks later in the hospital receiving chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So that kind of, it's like a really quick shift you got to go through mentally of, hey, am I even going to, going through the diagnosis of what is this? Am I even going to make it through this alive?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where it starts.
For sure.
Like the worst case scenario.
And you've got 3 pretty young kids.
Yeah.
And business that needs you.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And then thankfully the diagnosis is good. It's treatable. So now it's kind of going through that treatment process, and it's uncomfortable physically. It's a challenge to maintain kind of the structure I have at work, and that's really kind of the new challenge is where is this directing my life? Because it's not going to be the same as what it was 5 weeks ago. It's definitely going to be different, even though thankfully by the end of the year should be cancer-free and healthy. It definitely is having a long-term impact on where my business is going, where my husbandhood and parenthood, all those things.
Okay, so this was 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago?
5 weeks.
5 weeks ago. Dude, that's crazy that 6 weeks ago, none of this was even a thing. That's wild. We've gotten to sort of watch you walk through this over the last month with a lot of strength and dignity, and it's been really cool. I want you to share, to whatever degree you're willing, some of your experience in terms of the thoughts, the fears. What has the experience privately, mentally been as you've gone through this?
I think the biggest thing has been perceiving myself, I think that's the word to use, perceiving myself in a position of weakness, that My team at work is going to fail without me. My kids are going to fail without me being in kind of the same role that I was in before.
Yeah.
And I think really about 3 weeks into this, I realized that, okay, they're actually thriving. If I go into less of a directive mode, and now they're looking at what my leadership legacy was, of what would Matt do, what would Dad do.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And,
cool.
So I saw that as a challenge at first, but now I think it's actually presenting itself as more of a win.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some other, what's one or two other, say, challenges or fears or thoughts that you have contended with during this time?
I mean, physically, just not being able to do the things I want to be able to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Just run down. Obviously, any cancer treatment's going to be tough on your body. Again, it just goes back to that perceived weakness.
Yeah.
But I think it's presenting itself in some strengths as I learn and go through this process.
As you've walked through this, what are some of the things, whether it's people, habits, experiences, what are some of the things that you have leaned on that have carried you through?
Yeah. Obviously, well, not obviously, it became obvious to me that I was very, not self-absorbed, but very focused on the me and what I can do and how I achieve things.
Yeah.
And my team or my family.
Sure.
And quickly realized that there's a community around me of people that are stepping in huge to serve my family.
Yeah.
During this time, which I would have never even thought, if a friend of mine was going through something, I don't think I would have done the same thing that my friends are doing. So just realizing when people need certain things or in a time of need, that serving them is such a bigger blessing than what I had ever perceived it to be.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely learning more about other people than about myself, really, at this time.
Yeah. So you think that'll cause you to respond differently when you see other people going through similar experiences?
I think that's
that
biggest
makes
takeaway.
that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
What else?
Man, on the work perspective, really seeing my team rally in a way that I kind of always knew was possible, but didn't realize in such a short period of time that they could kind of find their own way based on the core values and the mission and vision that we've set forth in our company.
Yeah.
And being able to trust them to continue with that without me being in there day to day was a really good stress test on the business.
I think you told me one of your, I don't know if it was a team lead or somebody, basically said, like, this has been the best stress test for our company that I could have thought of.
Yep.
I did want to ask, you have built a company that has the people and systems in place so that when this came up, it's probably almost safe to say that they didn't even miss a beat or close to it.
Yep.
What do you think are the big pieces? You mentioned, mission and vision. What are the big pieces that a business owner can be thinking of to create that company that is able to be resilient in that way and isn't totally dependent on their constant presence?
Yeah. I'm in the trades industry, own a painting company. So I think the biggest thing for us is continually working myself out of a job.
Yeah.
So
what does that look like?
You can have, like, if I were to hire somebody to do certain tasks that I'm doing, that would be a job. So say it's estimating, or say it's sales, or project management. Continually from day one, I've looked at my business, how do I replace myself in that role?
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it has to be a natural flow and progression in your business to be able to support that. But just having that mindset of, like, how do I build my business as an asset?
Yeah.
How do I become an investor in my company,
Right.
rather than
It's
an
a
employee?
cash flow quadrant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And starting that way from pretty much day one was the goal.
Yeah.
To get there, and it took 7 years.
How would you say that this experience has changed you? I already asked you
I
that,
don't
didn't
think
I?
yeah, but I don't know that I have the final answer yet.
Yeah.
Either.
You're being changed.
I'm being changed.
Yeah.
I'm very open, doing a lot of listening, a lot of praying, a lot
Yeah.
of soul searching, if you want to call it that, of what ultimately this is teaching me.
Yeah.
So that's part 2, TBD.
Is that something that, like when you're doing praying, soul searching, is that something where I have time set aside every morning, X, Y, and Z for 45 minutes, or is that more of a inspiration of the moment? I'm driving down the road and something pops in my head, and now I'm reflecting. And
I journal,
okay,
but I don't think I'm having the moments of clarity when I'm journaling.
yeah,
I'm, like you said, it's when I'm driving or when I'm doing something that I'm leaving my mind open to wander,
Yeah.
and having that time and then sitting in it when it occurs.
yeah.
I think that's the best way to make it happen.
So this is probably this is a bonus question, and my guess is that the answer might also sort of be TBD. But if you had the option to flip a switch, bink, and this just never happened, would you do that?
No, I think I'd flip the switch and make it happen.
Really?
Yeah.
It's been. Why is that? So you would
Honestly,
choose to go through this?
I mean, maybe not specifically,
Yeah.
but you and I have had conversations in the past about kind of where I was at before all this. I was just kind of floating. I was in a rut, in a just a time of felt like there was transition or the liminal space, whatever you want to call it.
Well, we can call it what it was, which is that you built this great company that was highly effective and didn't need you that badly anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Which
And
is an
now-
accomplishment, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that problem wasn't real.
Yeah, and that's almost accelerated even faster during this time.
Yeah.
And now, what is, Matt Kuyper 2.0 and Harpeth Painting 2.0?
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Any guesses? Any insights?
Tell me.
We'll
I need
find
it.
out. For someone who's going through a difficult time, whether it's cancer, business struggling, someone else they love is sick, whatever, what would you want to share with them or tell them that I haven't asked you?
Man, the biggest thing is people, community. Surrounding yourself with people that can support you, people that want to support you. I couldn't imagine being alone through this process, and I think any hard time you go through, and you know this too, if you were on an island and it was just you, it would suck so much worse.
Yeah.
You need your community, you need your faith relationship, your family makes all of it a lot more bearable.
Yeah. Yeah. You said something at lunch that I also think is sort of interesting, and this can be the last point, but you mentioned that the physical challenges have really not been the main thing. Can you just briefly talk about sort of what you shared there?
So the thing that occurred to me is everything that is physical is just me. I can handle that. I can go through discomfort. I can handle physical pain, even the mental anguish of being in a hospital bed for 5 days straight, which is like being in prison.
Yeah, dude.
But that's all easily just tough. Just be tough.
Yeah.
But the other people that are sacrificing or other people that are wanting to serve you, that was harder for me to both accept and to realize, people wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And that was just, I'd never would have thought that in a million years that would be the hard part.
Is it a pride thing of like, I don't want to need help, or is it something different?
Pride in the way that I don't ever want to inconvenience people.
Oh, okay.
And when I put myself in their shoes, again, like I said, I wasn't aware or attentive to what people actually needed in times of struggle. And now I'm learning that.
Man, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, this is
You're
great.
the man.
Yep.
You're a good brother. If people wanted to learn from you, or is there somewhere they should follow you, or keep in touch with you?
Best place to follow me is on the interwebs, Harpeth Painting LLC on Instagram and Facebook. you can find everything about me through that.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to that awesome conversation with the stud that is Matt Kuyper. As I film this outro, Matt is a couple days away from ringing the bell and being done with his treatment. So we're really excited for him for that. Subscribe to the channel if you want to continue to get inspiration, insight, and wisdom about business building, real estate development. And for those of you who are going through a difficult time, just know you are not alone. And we have a few more conversations coming on this channel where we can talk about and hopefully encourage you in how to walk through those times with resilience and courage and strength. Thanks for tuning in. A couple weeks we'll be back talking real estate development, and I'll let you know who gets the free book.